Carolyn, can you come?
Yeah, she counted responsibility. Oh, I keep my notes.
So the only people who can't come are Daenerys is thinking about it, and Elaine's
She get off of writing.
What?
So I've been doing it in my own way that way I limit myself as well to go where.
Sam and Sophie.
And also it helps.
What's that?
When you don't have your own which is on the floor. It's like hard.
You love him too.
Oh wait! Oh my god, this is mine! For Megan. I almost forgot about it. Wait, I go. Can I get a tissue first? That's so funny. Yes. That's so funny how you did that. That's like the best.
Wait, I can't find my phone. I don't have my MacBook. No, it's offline.
What's you need your phone?
Yeah.
I'm alright. They will. Okay. Where did you go? Wait. Press again. I heard it.
It's not connected to the internet. That's why.
Okay, so as the
Okay, call it.
is everybody ready? Judge ready? Okay, so time starts now. I strongly affirm today's resolution that the Republican Party should nominate Marco Rubio as president. So we set the criterion as today's debate of net benefits, and we define Republican Party nominating presidents. Okay, can I start that over?
Carolyn.
Where is it?
Oh, dang it!
Turn your phone. Which form is that?
No, it's.
Yeah, where's your real phone?
Ah!
The call goes to you.
Oh.
Continue.
Okay, can I start? I'm so happy. That's okay. I didn't really say anything though.
Okay, I'm gonna keep looking
Okay.
around.
Ready, set, go. I strongly affirm today's resolution that the Republican Party should nominate Marco Rubio as president. So we set today's criterion as net benefits, and we define Republican Party nominating Marco Rubio as president as selecting him as a candidate for the Republican Party in the 2016 elections. So our first intention is that Rubio would help promote the Republican Party's image and help their party in general. So according to the so we first would like to show how Rubio represents a new generation of the Republican Party. So according to the Wall Street Journal, more than 50% of Republicans in the House, just an example, were elected since 2008. The impact of this is that what we are seeing is all the people who represent the Republican Party currently are really traditional and really and are party members that have been there for a long time, and they might fail to bring any new contributions. So that's where Rubio comes in. Rubio represents a new generation. He represents new ideas, and he can bring a lot more for the party compared to the people who have been in the party, who have been representing the party for about for over 8 years by now, and he represents a new generation. And also, currently in the status quo, we see that there's really sharp divisions in the party between the conservatives and the not really liberal, but the moderates in the party. However, Rubio represents, it's appealing to both sides because he votes conservatively, yet he has acknowledged problems that the conservatives have failed to acknowledge, such as immigration reform. So he is a candidate that is liked by both sides, so he can help bridge this gap. And bridging divisions within the Republican Party is very important because if they are to achieve anything worthwhile, if they are to have an impact on the American society as well as especially the American voters, as we're talking about the elections in 2016, the Republican Party should be united. They should be preaching the same. They should be representing the same ideals. There should be no divisions if there should be appealing to the voters, and Rubio helps bridge those gaps. And also, compared to other candidates, so he within the Republican Party, he is more ideal compared to Ben Carson, who is, although is gaining popularity, he is seen as really conservative in the eyes of many voters, and compared to also Jeb Bush, who seems a little too moderate. So, according to, as we're looking at the 2016 elections, we see that Rubio would really help the Republican Party because he stands the best chance against the Democratic Party. So currently what we're seeing is Hillary Clinton is in the lead and is popular within the Democratic Party. And according to Politico, Rubio is, quote, agile, erudite, and calm, which serves him well against a similarly square rival, which is Hillary Clinton, and therefore, one moment please, he has the best chance defeating Hillary Clinton in the elections, and this would help the Republican Party, yes.
Is this all part of your first contention?
This is all part of my first question. And having Marco Rubio have the best chance against Hillary Clinton would be helping the Republican Party because this is their goal when they nominate a person as the presidential candidate. They want him to win the presidency, and Marco Rubio has the best chance of winning against the strong contender of Hillary Clinton, and therefore it would make more sense for the Republican Party to nominate him as their presidential candidate. So going on to our second contention is diversity. So Rubio represents a more diverse background coming from compared to the standard rich and white stereotype that many people see the Republican Party as. He represents the Hispanic population. He represents change that could happen with having more diverse people. So according to the Pew, and this is important because as we see in the previous elections, the 2012 elections, only Mitt Romney the presidential candidate for the Republican Party, had 22% of the Latino vote. However, when they conducted a poll, according to the National Journal, 55% of Latino voters stated that they would vote for Rubio. And this is a big difference, and this is showing that he's gaining popularity because he represents a more diverse background. And this would really help the Republican Party improve their image rather than being more secular and being really conservative and having that stereotype. They could now possibly move toward being more open and being more diverse, which is something that would really help their image in the eyes of American voters. And so according to, and this is important because American elections, the two parties have to be balanced. We can't have people siding one party over the other because then the checks and balances are gone. So currently, according to the Pew Research Center, we see 48% people identify themselves as Democrats and 39% identify themselves as Republicans. And this is a huge disparity that must be addressed because we can't have people all voting for the same party because then the checks and balances are gone. And this is what makes this part of the reason why America has had such a successful government is because we have these checks and balances in place to represent all sides. And if we were to have people only voting for one party, this would potentially harm the government and potentially harm those checks and balances. And we could see one party having a huge majority, and this would not be ideal. So having Rubio being more appealing to voters would help bridge that disparity of the 39% and the 48%. So for all these reasons, I strongly affirm today's resolution that the Republicans should nominate Marco Rubio as president. How did you guys? What's up? Are you okay? I was calling.
Oh, my mom.
How about the scheduling?
Oh, they're rescheduling. Oh, because she has basketball tryouts. So
Ow!
we're figuring it out.
Carolyn,
Okay.
Time starts now. I strongly negate the resolution that the Republican Party should nominate Marco Rubio for president. So for a brief roadmap, I'll start by repeating all of the affirmative team's points and moving on to the negation points. So the affirmative team's first point was saying that Marco Rubio would promote good images, a good image for the Republican Party. They mentioned how he represents a new generation for the Republicans and how he's liked by both liberals and conservatives in the Republican Party. So what the affirmative team failed to say is how Marco Rubio will help the U.S. as a whole, but only how he will help the Republican Party. So there's really no point in voting for him if he'll only help the Republican Party but not really help provide a good image for the Republican Party, but not actually help the U.S. as a whole. Their second contention was about diversity and how he was representative of the Hispanics, how Latinos will like him and all that stuff, except he is actually disliked by a lot of Latinos. So currently, Univision, the major broadcasting company in a Latino broadcasting company that is bigger than NBC, ABC, and more broadcasting companies in the U.S. is giving him a bad reputation, showing him. Okay, it's giving him a bad reputation. Okay. Also, what he says about the poor class is really horrible, and I will go on to explain that right now. Okay, so the first contention of our case is that Marco Rubio will make a lot of poor economic decisions. So based off his past, he misused money in many ways. So I will just list some examples right now. As a student in university, he had a lot of student debt, but continued to treat himself to an $80,000 luxury speedboat. I'm giving examples. Okay, second example. He cashed out on a $68,000 retirement plan just to pay for a new fridge, air conditioning, and some school expenses. Also, earlier this year, he sold a Tallahassee investment property that he jointly opened in the house after narrowly avoiding foreclosure, having failed to make the mortgage payments on the house for 5 months. Okay. Yes?
Could you clarify, so are these his own personal, is this, what you're saying is this regarding his own personal life, or is this regarding some joint venture with this party, or is this just him?
No, this is just his past,
his business.
based on his past,
Okay.
his background on economic decisions. Okay. Also, he has multiple haphazard uses of his credit cards. So, for example, he has over $182,000 worth of charges on an Republican Party American Express card over the course of 2 years for 73 items that are for his personal use. So, from all these examples, we can clearly see that he cannot handle money very well at all. So, our second contention is that Marco Rubio does not value education. And education is a very important thing Okay, so what Marco Rubio says is that the poor should be kept out of higher education. And he also says, about that, he also says that, for workers, for the worker class, he also says that's where they belong. So what Marco Rubio really wants is just more wielders and less philosophers to improve the economy of the U.S. However, if you don't value if you value education, it will. If you value education in the future, the economy of the U.S. will also benefit as well. Because with education, you get more opportunity. With education, you get more opportunities to get more jobs in the U.S., which will even further benefit the U.S. economy. And what he's doing by just keeping the poor where they belong will just continue the cycle of poverty in the U.S. And yeah, for all the English, all the urban education stuff. Thanks. Got my dad's voice.
Wait, do I have to do your last speech?
I'll do it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, fuck you, Brad.
What? No, not if you prep.
No, the Republican presidential candidate.
You want to do it?
Like,
That's how we do it.
yes.
Carolyn, I will message you that.
I'm gonna
for feedback. Might be better.
I have to go.
Time starts now. As a brief roadmap, first of all, I strongly negate today's resolution that affirm that the Republican Party should nominate Marco Rubio as their presidential candidate. So, as a brief roadmap, I'll be addressing the framework of the resolution, and then the net case and then the aft case. So, the resolution was that the Republican Party should nominate Rubio. It's on the board. So, what this means by nominating him for president, the definition that the aft team put forward was that, Rubio should be nominated for presidential candidate. The topic of this debate has nothing to do what Rubio would do as a president or not. It is why the Republican Party should choose him, choose him as his candidate, not on the good he would do for the country, which connects to the criterion of net benefit. We are not looking at a utilitarian debate, which is the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people. With this criterion in the
Yes. Is it the benefit of the people? Doesn't the benefiting of people go under the criterion of net benefits anyway?
Yes, but under this resolution, what that would mean for net benefit would be the benefit of the Republican Party.
What? So you're saying that it shouldn't be the benefit of people's lives?
I'm saying that the definition we put forth was about Rubio being nominated for president, so the debate should stick to that. So the negation team has went off this by talking about what Rubio would be like as president without really talking about how he would benefit the Republican Party, which is really all the Republican Party would be thinking about in real life. So they're not having educated policy making as the Republicans would have done it about who to nominate as president. So now I'm going to address the net case. So our first contention was that Rubio would promote party image and heal divisions within the party. Their refutation to that was pretty much that we're only talking about how Rubio would help the Republican Party, which we, the AFT, believe that is our duty in this round by the criterion and the resolution. So, and then our second contention was that of diversity, that Rubio represents a diverse background, and their refutation to that was that he's disliked by one Latino broadcasting company. Well, we don't know what political viewpoint this company has, whether it's representative of the whole Latino community, whether it's because of some difference in viewpoint particular to just that one company. And we have shown through these polls that Rubio is better liked in the Hispanic community. And compare it to the other candidates running for the GOP election. I mean, Trump. That's all I need to say. Trump. So their first contention was that of poor economic decisions that Rubio has made in the past. Okay, so he had student debt in college, so he canceled a $68,000 retirement plan for a fridge and air conditioning and other stuff. So what? We have no evidence or impacts that this would have any effect on how he would deal with the federal budget if he became president, even if you don't buy what we were saying about how this debate only sticks to the Republican Party. They claim that he would make poor economic decisions as president. However, they haven't really provided a link as to how having this much personal debt would translate into having federal deficit. So I'll take your question later if I have time. Their second contention was that of education, that Rubio doesn't value education, and he thinks that the poor should be kept out of higher education and worker class should stay where they are. However, we have shown that Rubio is in fact the Republican Party's best chance to appeal to
working class people as he breaks the stereotype of rich and white candidates as he came from immigrant Cuban parents. So he would actually help the Republican Party image. So the good that this would do for the Republican Party, like, it outweighs whatever platform that Rubio might have regarding education. So now I will go back to the F case. Rubio would promote Republican Party image. He's this young, charismatic speaker. He's appealing to both the Tea Party, more moderate people within the Republican Party, through his policies of voting conservatively but still pushing for immigration reform. This would help with existing divisions within the Republican Party, and this is important because, well, with the way that things are divided within the Republican Party, like, the party would probably grow more unstable over time, and what this would mean is that there's a chance that the GOP could fall apart over time, and then what we'd essentially be having would be a one-party system, just a Democratic Party, and having a one-party system is bad for a country because then there would only be one party in charge. This could lead to a totalitarian government with, that party being everything like Communist Party was in the Soviet Union. So if we're going to preserve our system of checks and balances, we need Rubio because, well, we need a candidate who appeals to both sides that can bring the Republican Party more united. Rubio is also the most electable party for the most electable candidate for the Republican Party because he's diverse, so that would appeal to more people. And he's also best poised to run against Hillary Clinton, who is probably going to be running for the Democratic Party because he is shown to also be 15-second race, to be astute when it comes to foreign policy. He has helped in policy over Syria, Iran, and Ukraine, and he predicted about the Russian airstrikes in Syria, which would help him stand against Hillary Clinton, who is a former Secretary of State herself. And as we have shown, Rubio has the charisma to stand against Clinton. So for all these reasons, I strongly encourage you to vote after today's resolution.
Oh, really? Because, like, what checks out? What is that for just for the last? Okay. This is interesting. Because we did a similar, remember the back survey? Oh yeah, we went the complete opposite and just kind of Claire? Yes. Let's go.
With the timer.
I have a question.
Down to 14 minutes.
Yes.
14 minutes.
I've never done that
14
before.
10. However many you said you went last time.
What? Okay.
I went 8.
Oh, I was like,
Only
whoa,
8.
Claire.
I haven't ever gone over 14.
I heard more like 10.
10.
14 was
Oh,
hard.
did you actually, quick question, did you actually see our debate, the oil one? Did you actually
I
see
went
the one?
overtime like
I heard about it and was like, do I really want to watch this? Not sure
yeah, that's
about
why you
that
shouldn't
one.
like record things.
Yeah,
They're just
that
really
was
cringe
fun.
worthy.
I mean, they'll then be uploaded to
Oh, just
YouTube
like
and then we can all watch them. Alright,
Claire.
get a timer.
I'm so bad
Right
at
here.
this. I'm terrible.
Just when you start, I'll click it.
Let's just do an off-time roadmap so I don't. Okay, so I'm just gonna like review their. Okay, are you?
Just say after.
I'm gonna go Nate case, and then I'm gonna go app.
There we go.
That's not worse. I need the paper. Wait. I need this paper because it has all our dimensions on it. Okay. So, should it write down the So, time starts now. Okay, so I strongly negate the resolution that the Republican Party should nominate Marco Rubio for president. So, as I had stated, I'm now going to go over the Nate case. Okay, so the affirmative team's first contention was that okay, fine. We're gonna go aft case and then nay case. I'm not making any sense. I'm sorry. Okay, so the affirmative team's first contention was that promoting the Republicans' party image. To this, we stated that it's not helping the U.S. as a whole, and to this, the affirmative team states that the resolution doesn't include the U.S. It only includes Republicans. Wait. Okay, let's take a step back here and look at the resolution as a whole. Okay, so the resolution states the Republican Party should nominate Marco Rubio for president. So, president. I'm pretty sure that means president of the United States. I'm pretty sure that means he's going to make an influence on the United States. And I'm pretty sure that's not only centered on what could happen to the Republicans. Because if the Republican Party is nominating Marco Rubio for president, obviously this word president holds significance. It's not only for Republican gain, it's also for United States gain. Which is why we adhere more to the concept of net benefits. Because we're basically talking about the entire United States population rather than focusing on only what benefits the Republican Party can have. As you can see, this resolution clearly encompasses the Republican Party as well as the United States, because the word president is pretty self-explanatory. So that's why we're trying to include the entire population of the United States here, not excluding people. Okay, so on to their second contention of that of diversity. We had stated the concept of Univision, which was the #1 leading Latino broadcasting system that has more national broadcasting than CNN, ABC, etc. Just think of all those famous news stations you know. Yeah, this Univision one is way bigger. It encompasses a larger population, has more views, etc. To this, my opponent stated it's one broadcasting system. And once again, it's one very big broadcasting system. You can see how much media influences the population on a daily basis. Constantly, we're being buffeted by like all sorts of news stations. Just imagine something on a bigger scale and affecting the Latino nation as well. And so I'm going to talk about how Univision had a conflict with Marco Rubio. So basically, what happened was his brother-in-law was accused of taking drugs, and then basically the Univision, or like basically Marco Rubio was trying to cover it up, and then Univision found out, and they had this whole conflict over it. And so now basically Univision has a bad reputation, sets a bad reputation for Marco Rubio, which is why most of the Latino population, once again, a broadcasting system larger than CNN or any news station we've basically seen, encompasses a large population, and thus Marco Rubio is not going to be necessarily liked by the Latino population or contributing to diversity. Additionally, a person shouldn't really vote for a president just because of their race. So what I'm trying to say here is that basically when you vote for someone, you try to look for skills as well. You try to look for what they can do for the country. You don't just look for, oh, they're female, or oh, they're Asian, we're going to vote for them right away. You have to also consider several sides of the equation here, which is also what he can do for the United States, which is what we are focusing on as well. So on to the affirmative team's refutations to our first contention, which was that of he misused money, he's economically irresponsible. To this they said, we're really focusing on the Republic, the US shouldn't matter, because, so like basically, how will he be misusing money affect the Republican Party? This is very, once again, centered on the Republican Party. Just the fact that he's misusing money also means that he's going to misuse money within the economy on a bigger scale, so it's going to have more of a large effect. It's going to hurt the United States. So it not only affects the entirety of the United States, but it also encompasses Republicans as well, because irresponsible economic spending obviously hurts the reputation of the party. Yes.
So are you saying that Marco Rubio, because he failed to pay off his credit card and whatever, and had college loan debt, automatically means that the whole country is going to suffer from an economic problems because of his financial life? It's going to affect the whole country?
Well, basically what we're doing here is we're providing a case study in his past as to what he might actually happen to do today. So if someone is like constantly financially, it's not only one case obviously, if someone is constantly financially irresponsible, that means that there's a greater chance for them to misuse money from the government, and it would hurt the government and the view of the Republican Party. So we can associate it to the Republican Party. So, was that your question? Or okay. Do you have a question?
Are you aware that Marco Rubio, if he were to become president, would not be in charge of all the funds? There are actually other people who are more in charge, like whose positions lean towards the financial parts of the American government.
Yes, but just because he doesn't have complete control over it doesn't mean he can't manipulate it for his own well-being, as we saw for him using that credit card associated with the Republican Party. So, that's okay. What's my time? Okay, what is it? 1:11. 1:11 left. Okay. So our second contention was that he doesn't value education. He's hurting like the poor population that we're supposed to help because of net benefits. To this, the negation team stated, the affirmative team stated that, we're talking about Republicans here. We're not talking about the United States. And they said, pretty much they said Republicans over education. Doesn't this sound quite wrong to you? So basically, we're valuing the reputation of someone more than the poor population that's stuck in the cycle of poverty that can't get education or earn money for their people. Also, they brought up the concept of how Marco Rubio is a charismatic speaker. Well, so is Donald Trump. Look at how much, basically, like the acceptance rate he has, and like how many people are actually going to vote for him. So should we really vote for someone simply because they're charismatic? No, we should vote for them just due to what benefits they're going to grant us. And also they brought up the concept of how checks and balances basically is going to make a bridge between liberals and conservatives. That doesn't have a link necessarily, because just because he might give the Republican Party more reputation and get what is president won't automatically turn all Democrats into Republicans. So for these reasons, I strongly negate the resolution that the Republican need to go over this.
Nice. My turn.
Under the soft.
Yeah,
I need to get a better mind.
My mom made me because she's scared it's gonna get too cold. She didn't want me to get sick again. Okay. Is everybody ready?
Yeah. Wait, in a time?
Oh yeah, or it's a brief roadmap.
Yeah, you can.
Off-time roadmap, I'll be going over voter issues, which are, if you don't know, Judge, key reasons as to why the negation team believes that they have won this debate. Okay, so that time starts now. As the final speaker of the negation team, I strongly negate today's resolution that the Republican Party should nominate Marco Rubio for president. So, moving on to the voter issues. So our first voter issue today is that of the criterion. So the affirmative team has continuously brought up how they're only talking about the Republican Party and they're not talking about the U.S. However, my partner also stated that by talking about the presidency, we're talking about the impacts that he's going to have if he is nominated for a presidential candidate, and if he's nominated, and if he becomes president. If he becomes president, we clearly see that he's not going to be very beneficial at all with his economic reckless spending, etc., and also his policy on education. So clearly, we're not only talking about how detrimental he will be for the Republicans' image, but he'll also be detrimental for our country in general. And this clearly links into today's debate, because the impact of the thing of net benefits should also not only encompass the Republican Party, but also the entire United States. Because if we're only focusing on the Republican Party, we're totally ignoring the millions of people who will be affected by Marco Rubio's multiple policies if he becomes elected for president. And this clearly cannot happen. We need to focus on what would happen because of Rubio's. What would happen to the United States because of what Rubio plans to do? Okay, second voter issue of charisma over skill. So they talked about how Marco Rubio would be a fresh face and someone who would bring light to the Republican Party. However, we refuted this by saying simply because he's not going to do that. Even though he has charisma, there are many other Republican candidates that also have charisma. For example, Donald Trump. Donald Trump is also an eloquent speaker. So basically, the affirmative team is grasping at straws here. Honestly, they can't say that Marco Rubio would be better simply because he has more charisma. Because clearly there are other candidates that have charisma. Additionally, Marco Rubio is not going to win the Latino American vote simply also because he's because Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's not going to win the Republican vote or the Latino vote because of Univision. And Univision is, like my partner stated, is the single biggest television network broadcasting service in America for Latino Americans. So what we can see here is that there are a lot of people who are watching Univision and using this source for news and entertainment. And if Univision is against Marco Rubio, we can clearly see how this is going to translate into their views on Marco Rubio. So they're not going to win. They're not going to have Marco Rubio's vote. So their whole statistic on how 55% of Hispanics are going to vote for Marco Rubio simply because he's also of Hispanic descent is simply not true, because he doesn't have the Latino vote. The huge Univision is already slandering him. This media is going to translate into the population of the Latino American population. He's not going to win their vote either way. Okay, moving on. Finally, his race won't matter in this. I talked about this in my previous voter issue, but I'd like to emphasize the fact that the affirmative team is simply saying that Marco Rubio is a better presidential candidate because of his race. The race shouldn't matter, because we're talking about all the bad things he can do for this, all the bad things that he will clearly do if he becomes elected. He does not value education. He thinks that lower level people should be taking lower skilled jobs, which is extremely detrimental, because we're not letting the lower level people take in education to better themselves, which would improve our general economy. He says he wants to keep these people. He doesn't want to invest in them, and he wants to keep them in low skilled jobs. That's simply going to be bad for the economy. My partner stated this in her second speech. It's not going to be beneficial. Maybe don't also by the fact that he's not good. He's irresponsible with his money, and if he's irresponsible with his money, with his personal money, this can translate into his duties as a presidential candidate. And even if he doesn't, and even if he has advisors, he's still in control of these advisors. These people still need to ask for permission from the president. So he's still in charge of all of these things. The affirmative team can't come up here and say that Marco Rubio has other people who will help him, or who can help him and advise him, because that's simply not true. Because because as the president, if he were to be president, he would have the say of where the budget goes anyway. Period. Okay. So for these reasons, I strongly negate today's resolution that Marco Rubio should be nominated for the Republican Party candidate for president.
Did you try spreading?
No, because I had a lot to say.
Oh.
As a brief
I wasn't trying to spread.
off-time rundown, I'll be refuting the negation team's voter issues, then moving on to the voter issues of the AF team. So, time starts now. We strongly affirm today's resolution that the Republican Party should nominate Marco Rubio as president. So, regarding the framework and resolution of the debate, in our first speech, the affirmative team stated that we defined the Republican Party nominating Marco Rubio as president as nominating him for the Republican candidate, and the negation team did agree that provided no objections. Therefore, our definition should be held as fact through this round. So for them to come up and say that no, we should be looking more primarily on its impact on the American people, we cannot take that into consideration because they agreed with our definition. They provided no objections, and when we set our definition. So going on, also, in real life, we must consider that the Republican Party, when they chose
Point of order. This is a new one.
the Republican Party, when they nominate
What?
Stop the time! This is not a new argument because my partner brought.
Oh, sorry. The person who there's point of order. First, the person is going to give
The affirmative team's point about how we conceded to their definition is a completely new argument.
Is this actually an argument? Oh, yeah.
Okay. Kind of is.
In my speech, I was talking about how the AF team set the definition.
Yeah, and my partner stated in her second speech that how the AF team did set the definition and framework for this debate. Therefore, this has already been mentioned in the
point deemed irrelevant. Continue.
Okay, so
Oh, wow.
however, the next And also, we must look at this in real life. And in real life, the Republican Party, when they nominate a person for their candidate, they'd be looking for someone who'd help to promote their image. So, in terms of which impact outweighs ours with, because this is how it'd be viewed in real life, and we must have a real life approach when we're talking about debate, because it's more educational for the audience as well as the debaters. So, going on to the Nick Teen's first voter point, which was how we are valuing Rubio's charisma over skill. They actually took my partner out of context. She was explaining how his charisma and his fluency and how his calmness is equivalent to that of Hillary Clinton's, and how all of these qualities would help him stand as a formidable opponent to Hillary Clinton. We did not state that, but just because his charisma, he should be the Republican candidate. We simply stated these attributes would help him stand as a formidable opponent. So therefore, their point does not stand, as they clearly took my partner out of context. So their second voter issue was that of Univision, and how Univision has been defaming Marco Rubio, and how it's a huge source. And then they say how the 55% who said they're going to vote isn't going to matter anyway because they're going to see all this. Well, as they have stated themselves, Univision has already been doing this, and yet people who have already, therefore, the voters who have been asked what they're going to, who they're going to vote for, they've already seen this. If Univision is as popular as they said, the voters who are asked probably already have been watching Univision and probably have already realized this. Yet, according to the polls taken by the National Journal, 55% they're going to vote for Marco Rubio.
Sorry, stop time. So your analysis about like Univision and how like it's already happening, and how like since it's already happening and the voters are still voting, I'm pretty sure that's a new argument, unless you're like expanding on it. I'm not sure.
So what I was doing is how, because in your last voter speech, I don't know if you part of a new argument, but you did expand how the 55% doesn't matter, even though we stated that in our first speech. Your second speech did not respond. Therefore, your voter speech responded. So therefore,
it's okay.
We had no choice. We had no
consideration.
Okay, so that was our. We have already gone over this. So their third voter issue was basically stating how we shouldn't vote on someone. We say that after we stated how diversity is really important, how race, we shouldn't vote on someone just because they're of a different race. Well, but what we're looking at the impacts of him of a diverse background. We've already stated in our first speech how he represents a different population, how he can bring new ideas to the table, how he's better for this image of the Republican Party, because which is usually seen as white and rich. He represents a new image, and so yes, race does matter when it comes to elections. And their third voter issue is he does not value education. And then their fourth voter issue was that he was irresponsible with his money, and this will somehow impact to an economic apocalypse in the U.S. Economy. However, they have failed to link this out properly, and as we have stated, that he's not directly in charge of all the funds of the USA. There are people who are there. The president does not hold full power. And so going back to the voter issues of the AFT team, we stated that Rubio would help the image of the Republican Party because as he is, first of all, a new generation compared to the very old, compared to the party members who have been there for such a long time, he represents the new ideas and the new face of the Republican Party, and this would help him because people would see the Republican Party in a different light as more moderate, not really a Tea Party conservative, but see them in a better light, and also he will help bridge the gap between moderates and conservatives because a lot of he votes conservative, yet he acknowledges issues such as immigration reform, and therefore he helps bridge the gaps, and this will help the Republican Party stand united. And if they're united, they'll have a better chance of winning. I have a 15-second grace period. So the problem with him. Okay. So with him being more united, we can help keep the checks and balances of this country, and we can help make sure that there's no one party in power. So So for all these reasons, I strongly affirm today's resolution that the Republican Party should nominate Marco Rubio as president.
Okay. Sorry. That was any feedback.
Okay.
Oh my god, that was so
First of all,
I'm sorry.
civics lesson. Nowhere in the Constitution does provide for a party system. Checks and balances is not a two-party system. There were no political parties until Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson, as you probably know, was not the first president. Political parties, though entrenched in our political system, are not an inherent part of it. Okay? So do not go around arguing that checks and balances are political parties, because they're not.
Okay.
Checks and balances is among the three branches, and last I checked, one party being in power won't destroy that.
Okay.
Which is probably best. Also, 48% Democrat to 39 Republican. I don't, like, that's not a strong thing to argue.
Okay.
Like, it probably doesn't matter. Like, 48 to 39, clearly the Republicans are getting their say because they're shutting down the government. I don't think we particularly need more Republicans for that impact to be seen. Like, you can already see the impacts of both, so I don't really see that that's relevant. Anyways, also, the entire definition thing. You guys are both wrong, just saying.
Oh well.
Like, it's somewhere in between. Like, you guys are arguing we need to just look at the Republicans. You guys were arguing, oh, because they're president, we need to look at everyone. No, it says, because it says the Republican Party should nominate, it means why should the Republican Party choose to do that? That means, yes, they should be looking at their own self-interest, but the way you guys link in is the Republican Party wants to continue to be in power. They don't just want 4 years in power and then don't care what happens to them, right? So they want a candidate who's not going to mess up everything. Thus, it makes logical sense that they need a candidate who will actually help the United States. Yes? Suppose. You don't want all the feedback on video, bro?
No, bye video.
Goodbye.